Hey everyone, I'm Scott Stokely, and this is part 3 to my updates and corrections to my autobiography, Scott Stokely Growing Up Disc Golf. I released my autobiography 6 years ago, and since then I've learned of some historical errors that I made. Certain things just have changed that need to be updated. But anyways, this is the updates to the book. By the way, you can get the book at Amazon.com or the audiobook read by me at Audible. So one of the things I talked about in my book, I called this culture shock, was that as a young kid coming out from the West Coast, I got to certain parts of the country and experienced real racism for the first time. And I wrote that it made me uncomfortable and that I didn't like it. And that's true. That was my experience. The thing is that so much has changed, even since the time I put the book out, that now it kind of feels like I threw some people under the bus for things that happened in the past. And I want to update that. So contrary to what a lot of people on the coasts may think, racism ain't cool anymore in the Midwest and South. People my age or younger, like, it just isn't something that is considered socially acceptable anymore. I mean, I know there's a person here or some old person there, but it's just not a thing. Nobody cares about the color of your skin. Now, they might have some problems with certain cultures or behaviors, but they don't care which color skin a person has who behaves that way. They would have the exact same problem with it, which means it ain't racism. And in fact, a lot of people in this country find it absurd that there are places in the country that actually consider things like race when hiring. You know, they think you should be judged on the content of your character, not the color of your skin. So hats off to my Midwest and South friends. You guys are crushing. Look, I wrote in my book that most players had most shots. I thought they did because I hadn't been out on tour yet. So back in the 90s, when I was doing my clinics all over the country, I told everyone, if you don't have a sidearm, you will be at a competitive disadvantage as soon as everybody else gets one. Because right now, I'm the only guy, right? But as soon as everyone else has a sidearm, you won't be able to keep up without one. Or at least you'll be, falling behind. Well, it turns out that's kind of the way it is right now when it comes to a lot of these shots. Tomahawks, stummers, grenades. Players on tour are getting away with not having those shots because no one else does either, right? But the fact is, if there's a 30-foot gap up above and a 6-foot gap down below, you don't lose ground when everybody's trying to hit the 6-foot gap. But as soon as enough players realize you can actually throw a shot just as accurately through the 30-foot gap upside down up above, the players trying to hit the 6-foot gap are going to fall behind. So the next generation are going to have all the shots, but I've realized that they don't right now.